Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. So today we're going to be doing a reading about connections. So this is connecting with source, connecting with yourself and source, universe, whatever you call as one. We're also very close to the Lion's Gate. So because we're doing it about connections, I also wanted to use cards today that I have gotten as gifts from people via Throne or other gift sites. So I have a really lovely community on Twitch, and I have a whole bunch of cards that I was able to use today. And I think there's only one deck that I got myself out of this whole pile. Oh, and also this one. This one I got myself. But the rest of the cards are all gifts from viewers. So we'll start with a pile pick. This time it's going to be a little bit different. Instead of doing the shuffling process as a separate thing, what I'm going to do is shuffle while in the actual video. So it'll go from the pick a pile straight through to your particular pile you choose today. Okay, so we have pile 1. These ones have been well and truly shuffled. This one and no, this one. Alright, let's take a look at your cards today. Sorry if I'm sounding a little bit muffled. Sick partner in the house. So if you hear any coughing, it's just him. Alright, so for pile number 1, you have Sapphire with Channeled Wisdom, Psychic Ability, Self-Expression, and Destiny. Okay. For pile 2, you have the Moonstone with Female Fertility, Calming Emotions, Attracting New Love and Growth. For pile 3, you have Black Tourmaline, Protective, Anxiety Relief, Aura Cleansing, and Self-Belief. And for pile number 4, you have the Onyx card, Seeing the Future, Responsibility, Stamina, and Self-Mastery. So these will be your 4 piles today. Feel free to tap into your intuition and pick whichever one's calling you. You can jump straight to your video by going to the description below. And what I'll do is I'll give you some time and then we'll get straight into your readings. Hello pile number 1, welcome to your reading. So just a reminder, you've chosen Sapphire with Channeled Wisdom, Psychic Abilities, Self-Expression, and Destiny. So just a reminder, this is a reading about connecting with self and source. So I'm just going to put this over here and get some cards. So this one here. Thought of it doing this way so that you can see. Okay. When the cards come out, some of them are going to have some interesting images, so I need to make sure, due to YouTube rules, that they don't cross those. And they've been well shuffled before, so they're coming out nice and quick. I also feel like for this reading, if you work or connect with Archangel Michael, I feel like his energy is kind of coming through for this reading. Which kind of makes sense with the decks chosen. I mean, to be fair, these cards are all, not all of them, but 2 of the decks I bought myself and the rest were all gifted. So really lucky to have a really nice community on Twitch and obviously here too. Okay, and if any of these come out reversed, They are going to be read upright. That's my intention as I shuffled. Okay. Alright, so let's take a look at your cards today. So you have transform and unveil your gifts. Okay. It's really interesting with Destiny as well. I was like, well, this is a kind of like a very powerful kind of information. The channeled wisdom could be the message that will come through. The shapeshifter is definitely touching on, it's not like a need to change, right? It's utilizing your gifts with others, with self, and helping, utilize them to help others, let's say. So understanding your own power, and sometimes that's just believing in yourself and recognizing your self-worth, self-expression, right? So you can help shift others along with yourself. So it's utilizing your own abilities and skills to help others, and in turn, other people have different skills, right? And they can help you. It's not like I'll trade you this for this. It's more like just naturally. It's like flow. So it's opening the gates. Okay, really cool. Okay, this one's safe. So you have support. It's interesting that he's kind of like one taken off the mask but still has a blindfold on, right? So it's kind of like starting to unveil, like literally unveil. It's like starting to strip back some of the layers, and it's piece by piece. It's not all about bearing naked or anything like that to get somewhere. It's more like just one piece at a time. Take it slowly with yourself. Be kind to yourself and gentle, but you have support. You also have people that are going through similar things. You may not know them, but you are connected as as a collective. They talk about collective conscious. Definitely has that vibe and that kind of presence. And so every kind of cord you cut away from a past thing or worries of the future, it slowly unveils who you really are at a core level and your truth. Okay. So it's kind of like some deep work, but nothing that you can't handle or anything that's out of whack, right? Because you're still here. You've probably gone through much worse than what you can create in your mind, or that actually will happen. We can create things in our mind that are completely out of like this world. So it's really touching on, look, it's okay to think that and feel that, but is it real right now? Just make sure you're stepping always into the present. You've got a foot in the present, let's say. Okay. So you also have Shatiel with silence. This is interesting with channeled wisdom and silence. It's like getting in touch with your own one mind. I feel like if you want to break it down, it would be easier to explain it as like your chakras, like really focusing on one at a time kind of thing, and just seeing how each section and what those sections mean, feeling what it's looking like, is it out of alignment, or is it like overworked, or where is it at, where are you at in those sections, or those many chakras, right? But I'm talking about just the main ones at first. You can go layer by layer as you see fit. That's how it's kind of feeling. It's like this is slow but natural process, instead of leaving something all the way to a particular point and then a big event has to happen to get everything moving. So this is more going at your own pace. So the silence is like, take your time. Interesting. Okay, you also have Shambhala. This is talking about like the golden age, I feel. It's interesting here. You can see this little kind of figure, and I don't know if it's a person, but it just makes me think of a person and thinking, what power do I have in the world, right? What does it mean for me to go, oh, I can connect with unity consciousness or whatever, unity, like everyone. But who am I to do that? Who am I to think that I can connect with that? Well, you're one of many. We're all, I guess, individuals of, we're still individuals, unique individuals, but we're also connected all together. And even if you don't believe in any of the unity consciousness or anything like that, absolutely fine. But we're all linked by this planet at minimum, right? Everyone on Earth has to get their food, money, resources, everything from Earth in some form. Everything's created from what's on the planet. Some of the energy does obviously come from the sun, but it's streamed to the planet. So that's really where this is coming from. This feels like welcoming in a new age. So I feel like for you, part number one, you're here to support that. I know this is about connection, but you're here to also support others. Like, you have support because you support others. So you have support in what you're doing, no matter how big, small that is. I think people sometimes get too caught up in like a destiny or purpose, and we have destiny here, but your destiny or purpose or whatever you want is whatever you feel called to do. Like, if you go, well, should I do this? Or if you're thinking about it, does it call to you? Does it feel good? Does it feel right? Then go towards it. Even if it doesn't work out, it may lead to something else. It's never like a direct path to your goal. It's not a straight line. It's kind of like roads or railroads. You go around the mountain. You don't just go straight through. So this is really cool. I like this, and it just shows the amount of energy and power that one person can have. But imagine if the whole world were connecting and trying to bring in a better age. And golden ages, to me, always feel like, I guess when you look back over the years, when like Queen Elizabeth I having a golden age, money was coming into the country, food, that kind of thing, into Great Britain, or however it was formed back in those days. And so there was all the stuff coming through. There was like less wars because they had so many ships. I guess I can't remember how it is exactly, but they had lots of boats. And this just shows how strong their navy was, and the stronger navy meant less likely to fight. Kind of like when nuclear wars were created. Nuclear weapons were created. Not great, but it's kind of stopped these little war kind of things going on. Well, it stopped world wars, at least for as long as it has up until today, right? Who knows what's going to happen in the future, but I have good faith with these cards coming through. I just also want to touch on silence. I feel like this is kind of like touching into meditation, meditating and connecting with self, maybe even automatic writing in a sense. Taking a deep breath and just being mindful of the messages and the energy coming through. Okay. So you also have Eros with love, right under the golden age. This is what I always think of, and you can kind of see it here. This doesn't look like emotional love. This is like love of, like doing it for, the love is an energy, right? Something that revitalizes you and gives you purpose and reason. This is how Eros is coming through and feeling like it's like the sun beams or like energy waves coming through, and he's kind of radiating it here with this kind of bubble. It's like this power. Love is a source of power. It's doing it for like, I guess, how people always say the greater good, that kind of thing, greater good, greater good. It's like literally that. It's literally bringing in new age, not just for the purpose of self-gain, because let's be honest, when we finish this, I guess this incarnation, we're not going to take any of the money, we're not going to take any of the physical things. What we're going to take is our experiences and how we treated people and how we treated ourselves. Oops, these ones have come out reverse. Alright, so you also have the Emperor with sovereign cohesion. This is like you taking lead, I feel like. Look at this card too. Really amazing. Like it's kind of like above the world while also being a part of it, and above, like with the, I guess, higher realms, you could say. It's just, he's not acting as if he's higher or better than. It's more of like this kind of like stable, what would you say? I would say probably stable, strong, majestic, that kind of energy. Okay. Flip that. You also have the Four of Portals, which is Deep Dive. Again, touching like with Shatiel coming through. It does, again, feel like understanding who you are at a core as like individually, but also as collectively. This connection reading is turning into kind of more of like a collective consciousness, or feeling supported by understanding who you are at like a truth. So this is going deep within. You might even want to do like connecting with your higher self, meditation, something like. I'm just going with meditation because that feels more easy, I guess, and free, because you can get all like the, what do you call them, the meditations on YouTube or something like guided. You don't have to use guided. You can always just go out in nature, right, and actually connect with the earth and that kind of thing, connect with what's around you. Don't always have to be face to face with someone to connect. There's so many different ways. I think this is like a language that's going to change and evolve over time, where connection is not just face to face. And we can see that now with the internet, right? We're not face to face, but we're still connecting. There's so many different ways to this. So many levels. But yeah, I love this one because it does look like it looks like a portal, which is always like, you know, transformative, or like shows you some kind of alternative way of looking at things, or takes you to a new place, a brand new place. And just the water, it's like emotions, fluid, that kind of thing, which kind of like touches on this imagery. Okay. So you also have the Four of Wands, really nice. You also have the Page of Pentacles. Just with these two cards, I do feel like there's like extra or hidden, I guess, blessings by learning. Like this is all learning about yourself. The connection with self helps with the connection with others because you understand who you are better in a way, and then you know who's best for you, or who's right, or what's the, not who's right as in an argument, but who's like on the same wavelength or similar wavelengths, or where you can learn the most from, right? There's always that. That's always how it's kind of feeling here. But quite transformative with this Shapeshifter card coming through. It just shows kind of resilience. Sometimes people, including myself, will want to like stay back and kind of just like do things from behind the scenes, let's say. And I think that's absolutely fine. If you're called to that, you don't have to force or pressure yourself into something that you don't want to do. But if it does call to you and it looks like a good opportunity, even though it's a little scary, there's like a difference between you know, not being called to do something and also just being a little scared to try something different. But I do like this is your connection is really with self. Maybe you can channel kind of information through automatic writing, through messages, because sometimes this is the thing with like psychic abilities. Sometimes they can feel like you are making it up or anything. But if you look at it, especially when you're doing automatic writing, and sometimes the message will come across really, really like high, upbeat, positive. Do you always talk to yourself like that? You know, I try to as much as I can, but as humans, we can kind of flick into the negative really quickly, right? We're like, oh no, we can't do this. So we're kind of like self-deprecating sometimes. And then when you're writing it out and it looks really lovely and it's like a really nice message to yourself, if that was you, would you say those exact words that way? I guess if you want like proof, right? But either way, even if you're just like literally just writing it down and thinking about or just letting it flow, if it's positive and helpful, then it doesn't really matter where it comes from, right? It's actually good energy and good motivational vibes, let's say. Yeah, very highly supported in this. You do have a role, I guess, in some sense to play. Not to put any pressure, but with the Golden Age kind of card, the Shambhala coming through in the Eros with love, it just feels like love energy with the Golden Age. Like an awakening of souls or something like that. I do want to read this card too because I feel like it'll just clarify some stuff. Because this is a new deck as well, so I don't know it too well. Yeah, straight away it says the Golden Age. It says here, my soul is a sacred space through which I create endless abundance. My thoughts and ideas are unrestricted by time or space. It says here, this card signifies a golden future is soon to unfold. You will have many wonderful experiences accompanied by feelings of deep fulfillment, which is why this card coming through. It's like really letting go of some stuff too, like maybe it's not like heavy stuff. In some cases it might be, but it's like just things of that just kind of latch on, hold you back. It's not like an attachment. I don't want to say it's like an attachment. It feels like more of just old energy, just old dusty energy that doesn't actually have any vibrancy to it. It's just old and stale. It's kind of like dust in a house, right? It doesn't really do too much, but it's just there and it's annoying. And occasionally if it builds up, it can become an issue. It says here, express the love and creativity within your heart and you will experience great joy. At times it will seem as though heaven has truly descended upon earth. Very cool. That's why it did feel like you were entering, or we, I guess, your, what do they call it? A cog in the wheel that's kind of part of this. So work on what you want to work on, do what you need to do, whatever that is, whatever feels right to you. And if you're having trouble with that, I do want to come through and just say that Michael's kind of coming through with like a message of get in touch with your inner child. Your inner child will have not the answers, but it will remind you of what brought you life back then and just awe and what kind of little interests you had over the years. And those will add up to something that you might want to do. It doesn't mean you have to change careers because our purpose isn't always based around our career, or we don't have to turn our purpose into a career. It can be just anything on the outside of it, but it's something that you're called to, even as a hobby or as like a part-time kind of thing. It could be just reading a book and getting more knowledge and just understanding the world in a different way. Who knows? Up to you. Purpose is yours. But it definitely feels like it's learning with the Page of Pentacles. This card kind of feels like studying and understanding. She's kind of like, it kind of looks like scrutinizing the pentacle and kind of understanding what is this about? Where did this come from? How did we get here? This being what's important, that kind of thing. There is a huge amount of success and a path of many different like blessings along the path, along the way. So not something that's out of your capability, it's all within it because you already have all the power of everything that you need within. So a lot of mindfulness in this reading, pile number 1. So hopefully this has helped you today connect with yourself and source. Hopefully you've enjoyed. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Otherwise, take care of yourself and I'll see you in the next reading. Hello, pile number 2. Welcome to your reading today. So before we start, you have chosen the Moonstone with female fertility, calming emotions, attracting new love and growth. Okay, so we're going to see how this plays into your reading today. So remember, this is about connecting with self and source. It's a really interesting time as well this month. Right now where I live, it's the 7th of the 8th or the 7th of August. So very close to the peak of the Lion Gate. So the Lion Gate's open. Also this month has 2 moons, full moons, which is known as a blue moon, and also both full moons are both super moons as well. So it's like a really super energized month to connect. Okay, so these cards have been shuffled nicely. So we'll grab your cards today. So hopefully you're feeling well with all the moon shifts, the planetary kind of changes, things to come. Nothing ever happens overnight. but a huge amount of changes socially, economically, all over the world have been happening, just even if you look back 10 years. And then prior to that, if you look back like 10 years, the difference between each of those decades is quite vast, right? And in the last 10 years, we've shifted so much. But because it's come through naturally, people don't recognize it. So, all these cards, as I said before, the piles were picked. These were all except two decks, this one and another one I've got, were gifted to me by lovely people. So I thought, what better use of gifted cards than to do a pick a pile that talks about communication and connection, right? While they're giving something to me, I can utilize that to give back. So there's like a really nice exchange. Okay, so two of these. Okay. Okay, and these ones may come through reverse, but my intention is to keep them upright. I'm going to take these two. So even if they are reversed, I'm going to utilize their energy as an upright position just to keep the energy flowing through this reading. Okay. So first one is the Traveler, move in a new direction. That doesn't mean changing the whole thing of what you've already done. No, it's just part of the card. It's really talking to maybe something needs to be recalibrated or thought about in a different way, especially when it's regarding emotional energy or what you're attracting or bringing into yourself, because sometimes you can hold something in that maybe you're not wanting in your life, and that could be the flow of like, this isn't actually what I want is this and this. So is there something I'm resonating that makes this kind of people, these kind of people, or this kind of feeling come towards me? What's happening? It's not like you're blaming yourself, you're just looking at it subjectively, right? And this isn't about, oh, I'm saying this to myself or this person's doing this to me. It's not about any of that. This is about logical, I guess. Think about it like analytical, if you want. It doesn't mean you stay in there, it's just to get your mindset into a place of non-judgment, but understanding. Okay, interesting. You also have it's a no. Yeah, there might be like a particular path of or way of communicating that has been not supporting you or really working, and you can kind of see here in the background, she's been trying to create a way of communicating in a different way, or maybe in an old way, because they're all like really old blueprints, right, that are ripping apart, or old way of communicating with self and others. There may be something different that's more attuned to you and better for you and actually more real for you. I always feel like if you're communicating honestly with self and others, then you're already on the right path. You also have Raziel with the Angel of Mysteries, which is interesting because he's even got like a little book here with like a shush. Like he's like, this is a huge amount of knowledge can be gained from this. This is how it feels. It's like you're not just moving in a new direction that's incorrect for you. It's like, I want this knowledge. Why am I not getting it with the way I'm doing it? It's because something just needs to be shifted slightly. Maybe a recalculation on this map, this blueprint map, or maybe a whole new way of doing things. How do you speak with yourself? How do you speak with others? Do you treat others the way, with respect and kindness, that you would treat yourself, or that you do get treated? Or is it because of other things in the past that have happened to you that you kind of built up and held on to that, and that's kind of triggers you into certain things? Like when I say triggers, I mean like, does it turn into like someone says something that's not necessarily what you're thinking, but because of your conditioning you have taken it in a particular way and try to defend yourself even though, you know, there's no one attacking you. You know, it's many different things. That's just an example. But with this coming through, it's like a huge amount of knowledge. It's just like the shush feels like just center, take a breath, that kind of thing. Okay, interesting. You also have Anubis right in the middle with protection. There's something about Anubis, I don't know too much about ancient Egyptian gods or goddesses, but Anubis has always felt pretty safe and kind of very interestingly, like there's always like a hidden mystery or something there, something more to us. I feel like your reading part number 2 is going within to find your true self. And in some form, your true self is or will help with your connection to self and source and the people around you. But protection, you are protected during this. This is a good time to make leaps and bounds with regards to connection in general. Very good. Oh, I love this. So you also have 25 with creation. I might read this one. I'll give you a look at it though. They kind of feel like hands down the bottom, even though I don't think it's necessary. There's like mountains and a figure here and this huge kind of like web of souls or something. I'm not sure. It looks really interesting anyway. It's kind of really deep. Okay, it says poetics of light. It says, through love all is born, and to love all returns. Creation is one great love. Creativity is part of your nature. So it's really finding that inner spark within of your divine light, I guess you could say, or of your light that helps you talking to more than just connection, right? It's like finding that which helps spark passion and then in turn radiating and attracting like the new connections you want in life, whether it is like a new love or if it is that, then fine. If it's that's great. But if it's also like attracting your I guess it's like soul family or people that resonate on at a soul level or at a heart level or at a like mind level, even whatever it is, there's something that needs to be understood within you first to help attract that. And it's not, like I said, it's not about blaming. Definitely don't blame anybody, self, even other people that have hurt you in the past, right? It's not about blaming. Just have a look at it in an analytical form, in a way that's non-judgmental. Easier said than done, but this is how it's coming through, and this feels like more facts than anything. Okay, so you also have courageous alignment, 7 of light codes coming through. Courageous alignment is like, yeah, this is, I mean, this is like you're talking about your true self, your true self, your true self. The 7 of like courageous alignment is like stepping up and like standing up for what you believe in and what's really true to you, being your true authentic self. Doesn't mean you go around rubbing it in people's faces, right, or anything like that. You don't even have to tell anybody. It's just really first telling yourself, and the rest will come naturally. How that flows will come naturally. Ooh, this one's nice. Persistent presence. So I really like these pictures, these 2 light codes. So 9 of light codes is persistent presence. Yeah, it's been a hard road, and no one's telling you it's not, right? But let's move forward with this. Let's move forward. It's been like a challenge because persistent presence is like, you are working at it, and maybe you've tried many different things with communication, with connection, with family, friends, self, all sorts of different things. I think we have to go back to the basics in a sense, or think about it from basic form. Like what's happening within me, understanding those portions of who you are, because you have so much within that you can utilize and create the life you dream of, let's say. I really like it. Okay. Ooh, card poking out. Okay. So you also have the Five of Swords, and I think this might be how things kind of feel either now or in the past, right? It was like tit for tat. I win, you lose, you win, I lose, that kind of thing. But we're moving beyond that kind of communication. You're moving beyond that. You're moving beyond this feeling of having to prove someone wrong, or having to prove yourself right. Also have the Eight of Swords as well coming through. Really interesting attire. I do love the stars in the background. But again, with the Nine of Light codes and this card, they both they're different, right? The 8 and the 9. But it does come across with like, it's been such a hard road, and it's like, I don't know how to move from this, or I have tried many things, nothing's working, that kind of thing. And it's like, there's always a way of figuring things out. And sometimes it might be going back to the basics, going back to the beginning, or even looking at the beginning of your life and things that happened through there, because there may be something in there which gives enlightenment to what the root cause or where these kind of issues came from. Sometimes it's really obscure, like it was just something said but wasn't meant, and then we've kind of carried that our whole lives, like something our mother said which was just like in passing, didn't mean anything, but we've taken it to mean XYZ, and we've held on to it for like 20 years or something, 30 years, whatever. And it's like, even if it's not like you have to go talk to that person about it, because it's not really about anyone else. No one else can relieve your own pain, right? We have to work within ourselves. Other people can assist us to get there, but you can't lead a horse. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink, kind of thing. They can help you get to the point, but you have to release, take, give, whatever, of whatever this is about, whatever hardship or challenge this was about. So this is all about growth and learning altogether, uncovering the hidden parts of you that you can kind of utilize and improve and grow within your life, standing up for what you believe in without crushing others. You can stand up and be strong about who you are without hurting or feeling like it's a competition, a win-loss kind of thing. Because really, when we're talking about collective as well, if someone loses and we win, it's not a win, because we're like, if we were on their shoes, we'd lose. So technically it's like, I guess, neutralized, but really it's like a kind of false win, or like not a good feeling win. Whereas if we stand up for ourselves and are honest with ourselves and go forward with life with that, and not let anything kind of like influence us in a toxic way, or let it attach and hold on to us or drag us down, then we're winning, our own kind of quote unquote game. Even though I don't feel like it's a game, but you know what I mean, that's just the wording. So, a lot of growth. It's a auspicious time, I would say, with the way that the moons are, the Lion Gate being open, and that they're all super moons and 2 full moons. Also, obviously, new moon in Leo as well. So a lot of energy. The new moon in Leo is interesting. I was looking into it just at I guess, my own kind of eyes way into the collective, and it was feeling like a very softer Leo, but it was still courageous. But it was like, what would you say, like, calm, collective majesty, I want to say, energy, more so than look at me, rah, kind of thing. Like, instead of the roaring, boisterous kind of Leo, it was like that reserved, but emperor kind of, I don't know, energy. I just want to say it like that, like it's very strong. I would say, not stoic, strong. Someone that doesn't have to tell everyone they're amazing. They just radiate it. And I feel like that's where you'll get to. So there's so many aspects of, well, maybe you're already here, right? Because you are. You already are that. It's just unveiling it and understanding it yourself. So that's exactly what I see for your part number 2. Hopefully you've enjoyed. Please leave a comment if you have any questions or want any kind of like clarity. Really, really pretty reading, I feel. It's like deep. Just because it's a no doesn't mean it's a no forever, or it's a no in all aspects. It's just one kind of mindset that needs to be kind of tweaked to get into alignment. Anyway, take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next reading. Hello, part number 3. Welcome to your reading today. So you've chosen Black Tourmaline with the messages of protective, anxiety relief, aura cleansing, and self-belief. So let's take a look at the cards and how the message comes through in regards to your own connection with self and source, or the collective, however you want to word it. Okay. Okay. So these have been nicely shuffled between each reading. Black Tourmaline's a really interesting one to pick. I feel like not a huge amount of people would have picked this, so it is really interesting. It's just like sitting on my brain, like, this is an interesting thing. Okay, I'm going with that one. Right off the top. Okay, cool. These 2. I'm going to take these 2 here. So we'll take a look at your connections with self and others. So pop them there. Okay, so you got Mirror Guardian, take time to reflect. The reflection mirror, or the Mirror Guardian kind of energy is feeling, it's feeling like either this life past or even past life kind of like energies or influence, right? And it's not like, oh, that was from a past life, that's why it's hard for me, so we have something to blame. It's nothing about that. It's just about changing it, right? It's not about where it came from. Could have been like hundreds of lifetimes ago, but that doesn't matter. It's about building, shifting from that and making sure that you realize and understand that this is not your present. Your present is your present, and believe in yourself. Know that because what's happened in the past, even this lifetime, isn't happening now in your present, and that's really important here for your connection with self. Okay, it goes this way. All right, you have unlock your heart as well. Really, really interesting. Number 3. I was just looking at the wheels. I was like, that's very odd, but I guess it gets around easier if it's got wheels, right? Unlocking your heart, though, quite clearly, quite simply, is about expressing how you feel about things from either from the past or even now, and just how you feel. Feel how you feel. Give yourself the permission to feel how you feel about things. It's really important to, clearing a lot of negative energy, and even some of the protective. Some of it feels like you're overprotecting your heart. How can you feel care, support, love without having an open heart yourself? And this might be quite difficult to dig into, but it's very worth it. Very much so worth it. Okay, I'm just going to pop that there because since it goes that way. Oh, this one. You also have Israfel with Angel of Song. Super interesting. Kind of touches a little bit on, like, this horn just reminds me of like Gabriel kind of announcement, but I feel like it's more than that. I feel like it's more of you singing your own tune, like getting in touch with your true self and letting that out, because that truth will help you not just communicate with yourself and others, but also help with many other aspects of life. This feels more deeper and more universal. Okay. Like going to the beat of your own tune or something like drum or whatever it is, like something like that. Nice, you've got Poseidon with flow. Poseidon coming through. Yeah, this doesn't have, I feel like this is the thing. You kind of like, I guess, let's say, what kind of metaphor can I use or whatever analogy? It's like you open up one door, and because one door's open, it kind of just opens up a whole lot of space and energy, or like more space for energy to flow. Like if you're funneling a lot of like water through a particular channel, it like gets really congested and then flows out. So it's like opening up that, so it just flows more naturally in and out. And I think that's coming from through your heart with either emotions or even heart chakra with like that kind of energy of heart chakra. Ooh, okay, interesting. You've also got the new Earth card. I'm gonna have a read of this one. I like that it's so blue and watery with Poseidon, kind of like that god of water. Or god of the seas, rather. Okay, so I am going to read this one. Yeah, this is about transformation. Yeah, this is a huge transformation for you. It's so interesting. I like that it's green and just right next to the heart, because when we think of Poseidon, we think of sea as blue, but it's like kind of has that tinge of green, and heart chakra is green. So I feel like that's really, it's not a coincidence. So it says here that you are eternally loved is the eternal truth. All else is an illusion. Yep. Feel the love within and around you at each new moment. Yeah, I feel like also being grateful for everything that you have. Even, I feel like this is coming through, but I'll talk to what I want to say first before that pops in my head as well. But it's like, okay, no, they want to go to it straight away. They blocked it. Fine. There's like a chant or like a kind of meditation or mantra or affirmation. I don't know what you want to call it, but it's a Hapono. What is it? It's like Hawaiian, I believe. It's Ho'oponopono, something like that. You might want to Google it. It's like H apostrophe Opono, something like that. It'll pop up. But it pretty much you say this. You say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you. And this could be not to necessarily anyone or anything, it's just putting it out there, or it can be, right? It can be to a person that you've done that to, and probably yourself, right? We're so hard on ourselves, probably need to sometimes say that. So I think that's a great way. That little mantra or that little saying is really, really nice. But yeah, it's really, because I feel like energy and shifts and transformation, like especially with the changes that are happening globally as well, and you can kind of come along with it. In many different ways you will anyway, but it's just like it can either flow or it can kind of like be controlled, and I feel like this just needs to be flowed with, because we're all connected in a sense, via the planet we live on, right? Even if you don't have all the other stuff or believe in any of the other stuff, it's like you can't deny that we're all connected by the planet. And so letting the changes, Mother Earth or Gaia needs to evolve with the changes too. and so do we. And so as the Earth changes, we also have to change with the way that the Earth is going, and then animals have to change with how humans are, and or how the Earth is going, and it's just like there's a flow-on effect all the time. Okay, all right, let's have a look. You also have the 4 of light codes with celebration. Absolutely. Celebrate who you are and how far you've come to get to here. While there is talking about unlocking and singing your own tune, it really is also a time of celebration for everything that you have opened up to get to here. Like you probably have already worked on your heart, right? And your compassion for the world and people and yourself, and love, self-care and self-love, self-belief, that kind of thing. So make sure you are celebrating that and being grateful in a sense to your own self, like patting yourself on the back, like gratitude to yourself. All right, and you also have the 3 of portals, which is geometric coherence. That is such an interesting picture. I'm just gonna hold it there for a while. It's kind of trippy, like it's kind of like taking you on a journey, it feels like. Okay, I don't want to get pulled too far out of the reading. But really interesting with the 4 of light codes and the 3 of portals, because the 4 of light codes comes from the 4 of wands, which is like, you know, the people celebrating as they kind of come home. So coming to a new cycle with new earth as well. And the 3 of portals is touches on a little bit, and quite in an interesting way, is like the 3 of cups, which is also like celebration. So it's kind of like, you know, with self and also with others, like patting yourself on the back and also enjoying the company of the right people that resonate with you, right? There's so many different colors here and different shapes, in a sense, so like different aura kind of feels, like different feelings, right? So it does feel like, you know, understanding that the differences only lie at the physical form level, not at a soul level. The growth and place where everyone's at on different journeys, right, might be different, but we're all a part of the same kind of light, I want to say. I like that. Celebrate this new earth coming in, for sure. Okay, so I am reading these all up right. You have the 8 of wands. Yeah, definitely coming through with, again, this is quite, it's flowy, but it's going to come through quite fast. That's why I was like, channeling it is not going to help when there's a huge amount of change coming through, a huge amount of water or emotions or just like energy. It's going to help you. It's kind of like a channel, or like a channel of water taking you on a journey, and like instead of you going off trying to get onto the land, it's like just accepting that it's taking you to where you need to be. You don't have to control and get on land and then walk there when it was already leading you to the township or to the harbor that you wanted to get to anyway. You may as well just like sit back and relax with the you know, the ebbs and flows. Wow, and then you've got the 4 of wands again. Is this the 4? Yeah, this is the 4. I just see there's 6 wands. Oh no, this is the 6 of wands. What am I saying? This is the 6 of wands. My bad. I was like, hang on, I'm counting 6. Okay, anyway. But it's really feeling like the energy of being seen, being recognized, recognizing your self-worth, recognizing how things from the past have actually shaped you to be who you are, and if you're proud of who you are, regardless of what happens in the past, doesn't have to be something you hold on to anymore. It's like, instead of going backwards, going forwards with your crew or something like that, like with people that are on the same journey, because we're all going through many different things at different times, right? There's not any one person that's not going through something, no matter how rich, poor, oppressed, not oppressed, whatever. Like so many different things, we're all going through something in different ways, and affects us in different ways too, because everyone has a different perspective of things that happen in their life. So interesting one. It's really calling to you being softer with yourself, kinder to yourself, looking after yourself, clearing any self-belief, self-deprecating thoughts. And how do you do that? By understanding your past and where you came from, and a way of clearing that, like not holding on to that being your truth for the rest of your life, right? Because if it's not in your reality, it shouldn't be something that drags you down. Again, easier said than done, but still true. Because there's so much blessings and care and like energy, like good vibe energy in your life, things starting to shift and change, maybe quickly, but still in a way that's not oppressive or rough. It still feels very flow and natural, and actually starting to be your true self. Like that, literally, it feels kind of like a little bit similar to pile number 2 in a sense. If you were drawn there with the Moonstone, then go check that out. But regardless, I think this has covered pretty much all of it. This is all about focusing your connection is really on you, and that's going to help you with attracting and connecting with source. Really, I want to say source more than even other people. It's just like the energy of what's to come in the world, and seeing it in a positive light, not buying into all the the kind of drama of Earth, because it feels like sometimes you watch the news, it's just like this is just Earth drama, which we're a part of, right? It's we're Earthlings, so I guess it's still our story in a sense, but the news or certain media or certain aspects of what we get, where we get our information, that's not everything. That's a very small portion. So if we get 90% of like toxic, negative things, and in the world there's like it's like 50-50, we believe, because that's our perception, that the world is like has like 90% bad stuff and 10% some good stuff, when it's not true, right? It's just because of what we're consuming. So interesting. I do want to also say I feel like you are part of bringing in New Earth, and in like part of the collective that's helping with this. Of course, everyone is, but I think you're probably a little bit more connected, I guess, and understanding of what this is to be and how it's to come through. Still some stuff to clear, but yeah, a lot of heart opening, unlocking your chakras in a way, I guess, and really connecting, so you can be seen and go to the beat of your own drum, based off all the stuff all the challenges and good stuff, hard stuff, everything that you've been through. So really pretty, really nice reading. Hopefully you've enjoyed. If you have any questions, of course, leave a comment. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next reading, and take care of yourself. Hello, pile number 4. So today you have chosen the Onyx card with Seeing the Future, Responsibility, Stamina, and Self-Mastery. It's a really interesting one coming through for a reading about connections with self and others. It's really been talking to the times in most of the readings, so I will kind of mention this. This month is August when I'm streaming this, and it also has 2 full moons in a calendar month, which is called or known as a blue moon. But they're also super moons, and it's also one day, for me anyway, one day before the peak of the Lion's Gate. So the Lion Gate is also open. So it's kind of like a lot of things going on, without going into like planetary stuff. So really interesting time. But we'll see what message comes through in regards to your connections. Or connecting. I feel like most of this is connecting with self, honestly, with the readings. Connecting with self and also others. But a lot of like self-reflection, self-understanding, self-appreciation. But of course, all readings are different, so we'll see what comes through this one today. I have shuffled between each reading the cards, and I thought I'd just pull them on here instead of pulling them while doing a separate shuffling process. Just do it all now. This one. Okay, this one's come through. And if any of these are reversed, they will be read upright. Alright, so let's take a look at your reading today, pile 4. So you have the Peacekeeper with let go of the need to be right. Okay. Interesting, like the thing that popped up was responsibility. So it's it's hard sometimes because we'll see certain things or read something or be spoken to or just have like a conversation where we disagree, right? Sometimes they go around in circles and you don't get to really, I guess you get to speak your truth, but if people aren't really understanding or listening to it, you can only speak your truth and you can't really control or change other people's opinions, right? So this is like starting to put down the like headbutting kind of thing, because if these people aren't going to resonate with you anyway or are in your life, then why I guess why focus on that, I guess, is really how it's coming through. It's like, why focus on someone who's not in your life, and also who's choosing to, or maybe just not getting it. You don't want to deal with a troll either, otherwise you're just going around circles. But let go of the need to be right is really a nice thing. Honestly, letting go of the need to be right, because it's your truth, right? So as long as you believe it, why does it matter if someone else believes it? You also have transform anger. Yeah, go onto Twitter. You'll see anger. As a jokes aside, though, the transforming anger is turning that, energy of fight into something more successful or useful, let's say. That kind of, there must be some kind of underlying anger towards something, or some kind of underlying energy that maybe it's not anger, maybe it's just something else, but it's there to be converted, let's say, through challenges or through comments or conversations with other people, or even with ourselves. We can be really hard on ourselves. So that could be where this is coming through today. You also have Remph, Angel of Time. Kind of an interesting one. This may be kind of like a reflection type thing, self-reflection. She's kind of like in a mindful position, even though she's quite fiery. She's also settling down, right? It looks like she has like a what are those called? Wind things? I've forgotten what they're called. That is so bad. But I guess you don't really see them these days. But the wind thingies, telling you where the wind's blowing from. And a kite. So it kind of makes me think of lightning needing to get that anger out through fight, right? Or through argument. Transforming that and utilizing that anger, because maybe that's like a passion or something that can help you with something else. But with Remph coming through with the Angel of Time, it kind of more focused to me on something from the past. Maybe that's how you were brought up and believed that life should be in this kind of way, and focus on the past as like, well, I'm a product of my parents, or I'm a product of my future. You choose what you choose now, though. Just because something's happened, you aren't bound by your DNA or bound by your parents' beliefs or the past. You're bound by what you choose in this moment today. Okay. Okay, Anubis coming out again. So this is the second time Anubis is coming through with protection. This always kind of makes me think of like hidden messages, something like underlying, something underneath the surface, right? There's more to the story than even you may remember or think. But regardless of what it is, it's like it's time to I guess in some way let go, in a sense, because you might have built up a lot of like energy from this over time and held on to a lot of stuff. And so sometimes releasing that, it's like, well, who am I if I release this? It's like a new you. You'll be feeling a lot better, I would say. But I think your guides especially with Anubis coming through, it feels like, you know, they're guiding you towards this particular path, and it's like a much more smoother, peaceful path. I think even seeing the future is interesting now that that comes through. It's like seeing the future and knowing what the past was and potentially projecting the future, that past onto the future. It's like you're seeing that happening again, and that's what's kind of like maybe worrying you or putting kind of some kind of energy around you. And it's like the past and or the future isn't true right now. The present is. Only you and whoever's around you right now is what kind of matters in this moment. Okay, I'm gonna have to read this one as well. What an interesting image. Look at this. It feels like heart. Something with like heart blossoming, something like that. It's really interesting. This just reminds me of an actual like heart. I know it's red, so I would think of like the root chakra, but it's feeling heart. Purifying anyway. But you've got Maitreya. I haven't read the book. This is a new deck. Another one that I got gifted, which is really, really pretty. I looked at this about a year ago and I was like, I really want this one day. But then I didn't put it on my list. And then one day I was like drawn to put it on. I think it was like 2 weeks ago. And then someone got it and I was like, okay, it makes sense. This is Wisdom of Ages. Yeah, again, right next to time. It's like, maybe this is not just in this lifetime. Could this kind of like belief, self-belief or belief with like family, I don't know what this is, but it just feels like it's been a hard road with certain people in life, whether they're family or not, or exes or whatever. Okay, so it says here, you have been on this earth many times, and you shall return many more to come. From each lifetime, you keep the most precious experiences, the ones that have made you the beautiful soul you are. You have witnessed humanity unfolding and experienced all there is. Your mother in this life may have been your daughter in another. You may one day be your child's child. You have experienced poverty and wealth, happiness and sadness, sickness and health, and through it all, you have, in essence, stayed the same. Life is an endless cycle, and you are your soul's endless unfoldment. Millions of Earth years have passed, and many more millions will come. What will the future be like? What shall it bring? Perhaps we will all see things differently. Perhaps we can now start. Perhaps we can start now. It's not everyone and everything. Is not everyone and everything worth loving? Are we not all, in essence, of the same family? Yeah, I was talking about connection, right, with all. So it's really understanding that, you know, oh, hey, in this lifetime, I'm going to be, you know, a bit of a horrible person to you in this. And it's like, next lifetime, oh, I'll do the same, see how you feel about it. Like, you know what I mean? It kind of feels like that. This could be breaking a particular long cycle. One that you've already learnt, right? And don't need to relearn. Have a look at the rest of the cards before I get too deep into it. So you got Vines with Priestess of Portals. I'm not sure why these are reversed. I'm going to have a look at that deck. And you also have Initiate of Portals. Super interesting. Both portals. Initiate is like, these are like the most psychic kind of cards coming through. It's like one's an eye, and that just feels like, you know, seeing through into someone's soul. You know that saying, the eyes are the portals to the soul or something like that, and that's kind of exactly how this feels. And I think it's like seeing people for who they truly are and not telling them or like using it as a weapon or anything like that. It's just like, okay, you're learning this lesson this lifetime. I'm learning this. I'm going to release this and move on from this so we don't have to go through the cycle again. You know, even whether they participate or not. But the Priestess of Portals is like the Queen of Cups, and the Initiate is like the Page of Cups. So they're like kind of psychic, right? They're the more psychic cards. and understanding cards and can kind of like reach further in with their pools and depths of knowledge than other people. Maybe it's not like a competition, but it just feels like that's true. So it kind of like you have to be the better person in a sense. You have to be the bigger person. Okay, and you also have the Six of Wands, which is all about you. It's all about you, and it's also all about the collective, right? Because this was talking about kind of like many like cycles and things like that. But this is like being recognized for who you are, and that starts with yourself, recognizing your self-worth by recognizing yourself, because you don't get self-worth from other people recognizing it. If you are looking for that, you'll be in a constant cycle of like disappointment, but also getting it, but then it wanes over time and then needing to do something to get it again. It's like a person who tries to, like a child that tries to impress their parents. Oh, look, I got an A in this. Oh, I got another A. And they can build like a lot of stuff, but it also there's like an issue with that. There feels like there's something there that needs to be looked at, because while getting A's or great results feels good, what about their self-worth? Do they get an A in their self-worth? What about their self-belief in self? What's that? There's a lot of that kind of things. And I think a lot of people are probably looking into that now, because there has to be a good balance, right? You don't want to work on their self-belief so much and then the schooling for fails, but you don't, or their comprehension of human life kind of like is left or not worked on. So it's like, what's the balance with this? And I think even opening up conversations, maybe even meditation, maybe even like calming music or whatever, I don't know. It's not like telling you how to raise children or anything. It's just like how to kind of look at things. Even just sitting there in a philosophical kind of mindset and think about things, because you're in self-mastery mode with this card. So you're all about these cycles, or kind of learning the best way to handle certain things. I don't know if this is now, but something in like this reading is about something important into your life purpose or life that you wanted to go through. And it really does touch back on self-belief. Interesting. Yeah, looks like that may be what it's about. So we also got the Tower coming through, and obviously Tower is like something that changes, that's old, right? That needs to be knocked down or rebuilt from the foundations up. And it's really touching on emotion. Like people that get angry are in like a really fiery kind of way that can kind of seem dangerous. Doesn't mean they're like strong. It means like they're emotional, right? There's a high emotion that's channeled into, it's just coming out as anger instead of other ways, which is like how we would sometimes see emotion as being crying or something like that. And it's like, oh, someone's emotional because they're crying. Someone's emotional because they're angry too. Someone's emotional when they're like frustrated. And it's not bad or good. It's not really anything to be judged or to be labeled. It's more like to be felt and understood. And then maybe, why does this happen? And then, going deep within to understand who you are, where that comes from, what it's about. You are protected through this. Maybe it's really old. It doesn't have to be done with people, especially if it's going to cause this kind of anguish of like feeling like you have to back down or anything like that, because you don't have to back down, but you also don't need to fight. You can win by not fighting and letting go. So kind of really deep, because that'll help build this. And like these two together feel really good, because it's like a whole lot of like old getting taken away and released, and a whole lot of like new kind of love for yourself and for humanity. I feel, especially with this card, or your soul family, especially. I feel like soul family, whoever's like getting this reading, your soul family is coming through with like, hey, yeah, we're probably going to go through the cycle again, but you're going to maybe break out of that, and we'll see. I mean, who knows, right? Don't really know what happens fully on the other side. We can only go by what we know. So really interesting. but really cool. The best way to connect with Source is honestly to do it when you're in the best mindset. It's like the best time to give gratitude for what you've got is like, or prayer or whatever, you know, your practice is when you're feeling like you've got a lot of stuff. But we're kind of trained, or like our humanness wants to like ask for something when we're in desperation. It's always asking instead of like being grateful, in a sense. Not that it's you, but it just feels like it needs to be said. Also, again, talking about the old, like ancient kind of like cycles and stuff, Anubis, kind of like a really old god, right? Like a very ancient Egyptian kind of energy from that one. Really interesting. Hopefully you've enjoyed. In the comments, let me know if you have any questions. There's so much here that I could probably just keep blaring on forever, but I'm going to leave that here. But thank you very much for your time and energy, and I'll see you in the next reading.